The San Francisco 49ers have brought in a bunch of wide receivers for a tryout. Let's talk about the lists and also talk about the potential implications of these tryouts. The 49ers brought in wide receiver Quintez Cephas, wide receiver Equinemius, I apologize, Equinemius St. Brown, Equinemius, there we go. Apologize about that. Grant Dubose, Brandon Powell, Ramel Keaton, Stanley Morgan, and a quarterback, Spencer Petrus. So I'd first of all like to apologize for absolutely destroying Equinemius St. Brown's name. I apologize. Brother of Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's three names that stand out, maybe four, in regards to these wide receivers. Cephas with the Lions actually has done pretty decently for them. Kind of used sparingly as a, fill-in wide receiver. He's a guy who's been decently productive. He's only 27 years old. He was a 5th-round pick, 166th overall. He was okay, nothing crazy with his contributions with the Lions. But the guy that stands out to me, obviously St. Brown, he's more of a Juwan Jennings type, big-bodied wide receiver, not like his brother Amon-Ra St. Brown, pretty lanky, has some solid, wingspan and stuff like that. He's been an okay wide receiver. He's never really kind of clearly had the same success as his brother. But he's definitely played in the league. I believe he's played with the Packers and the Bears and a couple other teams. I think it was the Bears most recently. The one that kind of stands out to me, just because I did like his film coming out of college, was Grant Dubose. I believe he also latched on with the Green Bay Packers for a little bit, but he's just kind of bounced around. I think recently he was with the Miami Dolphins. He's still only 24 years old, but the former 7th-round pick, he's a guy that like I said, I enjoyed watching him coming out. Again, a bigger body type wide receiver, 6'2", 200 pounds. Played at a somewhat of a small school coming out of college. And again, he was a 7th-round draft pick. Last year, the only stats that he's really logged was 2 receptions for 11 yards. And that's all he's been able to do in the league. But again, I do think there is some potential. Again, bigger framed wide receiver, kind of seems to be the body type that they're going after. So I don't know if that is any indication of what's going on with Juwan Jennings. Obviously, it's not just Juwan who's going to be down. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk, who's also on PUP. And, of course, Ricky Pearsall, the one that I think most people are, have an issue with outside of Juwan and his contract situation. And then I think the name that everyone wants to see is a Keenan Allen, is a Amari Cooper. But I've also mentioned this, those two guys probably are not coming to a team where they're going to be the last option on the wide receiver depth chart. They're looking to be a wide receiver 2, probably at minimum. Now with this situation playing out, we don't know what Brandon Ayuk's timeline for return is. We don't know the status of Juwan Jennings. Will he get paid or will he get traded? That obviously would open up an avenue for opportunity for guys like Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper, but you would have to expect that Ricky Pearsall, when healthy, will be the wide receiver 2 behind Brandon Ayuk. So really, guys like Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper would be coming in to be wide receiver 3 at best, and probably guys like Jordan Watkins, the rookie 4th-round draft pick, or Jacob Cowing, probably make a little bit more sense for that wide receiver 3 or even Demarcus Robinson. However, Robinson may get suspended for the first couple games of the season. So there's really not a clear path for this wide receiver room. And again, the situation with Juwan and the injury to Ricky is just making it more muddy. And then you throw on Demarcus Robinson, and is there a world that exists where maybe the 49ers starting wide receivers are Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing and Isaiah Hodgins? Like, maybe. But that's a tough spot to be with training camp not even starting yet. So clearly the 49ers are looking at additional wide receivers. I assume that they will sign one of these guys, if not a few. And I would have to imagine that they will be looking at additional wide receivers throughout training camp. But we'll have to see. Those are the guys that the wide receivers or the 49ers have tried out at wide receiver, and they threw a quarterback in there. But I don't know what that's about, because you do have Brock Purdy, you do have obviously Mac Jones and Tanner Mordecai, and then they did draft Curtis Rourke, but he was on the PUP, so maybe they want a fourth camp arm, and that's why they're bringing that guy in. So that would make sense in that regard. But yeah, there you go. Nothing crazy, no signings, but I think the 49ers are trying to tell you that they are in the process of working out a wide receiver. And I do have to apologize again for absolutely destroying Equanimous St. Brown's name. I kind of want to go and watch this video back to just see how much I struggled with that name. Again, if you watch me, you watch this channel, me and names aren't friends. It happens. So I always have to apologize to the player directly, because not like they watch the videos, but hey, I apologize for absolutely butchering your name. But training camp is back, and we are going to be back in Santa Clara on Wednesday. So I'm excited to be around football again, excited to get into training camp and see the new layout. I think that's really one of the first things I want to check off the list is how are these fields configured, and all those different types of things. So it's going to be a fun one, but training camp coverage will start on Wednesday, and I plan on being there at every day that is available for open practice. So I will be getting my coverage per usual. Again, doesn't matter if I'm standing right in front of them or standing in the back row of the bleachers. I'm going to have really good coverage. I'm going to be objective in my evaluation, and I'm going to give you the best information possible that I can provide for 49ers training camp. So make sure you're locked into the channel. Hit that subscribe button, comment below, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.